Welcome, everyone, and we apologize. We wanted to go live with this, and YouTube is not allowing us to do that. So we had to record this message. We have the honor of having Sheila Holm with us, who is a tremendous patriot, and in my eyes, she's one of the many, many heroes in this war. We have Rob Cunningham, and we're always pleased to have Rob with us, Mr. Cool. And then we have Anna Marins from Brazil, and then myself, the cranker, and then our host is Mr. Mike Likens. So we have some breaking news that we want to share with everyone. And with that, I want to give Sheila, please take the floor. Thank you so much.
Well, I think we should start with the Lord's Prayer. What do you think, Mike?
Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. Our Father.
What a blessing. And I added this one today, but if we scroll down further, the morning started with an announcement from Pete Hegseth. And it's before the letter. And it came out from disclosure.tv. It may have come out from other sources too, but disclosure.tv came out with this announcement, and there it is right there. And by this afternoon, it's in Wall Street Journal. It's in all sorts of newspapers. And what it is that Pete Hegseth and our president have asked all of the generals, all of the admirals, vice admirals, they're all to come. They're all to come, and there's going to be an urgent meeting with them next week. Powerful, powerful time that we're looking at. And so another aspect of this is, and I don't know how many of you have ever seen the changeover from the Department of Defense to Department of War. So let me just take a moment and explain Department of War. We originally, our founding fathers set up the Department of War to keep us from having war. And then fast forward to them taking out Jefferson, who started the Navy and the Marines, and sent them to Tripoli to take care of what had to be taken care of so they wouldn't keep bringing those people here to America. And then they took out Monroe, who said the Monroe Doctrine, you got to quit stopping all this tyranny. They're bringing all the people, you're bringing everything here that we got away from over there. And so then they took him out on the 55th anniversary, 1831, in 1826, our 50th, they took out Jefferson and Adams. So with those guys all gone, what happens? The great nephew of Napoleon Bonaparte comes to America and becomes the Secretary of the Navy. So look up Bonaparte. Do yourself a favor, Bonaparte legacy. Napoleon Bonaparte was a self-declared emperor over France. Why? Because King George III was over England, France, Ireland, all these different nations, and considered himself the president of the United States. That was his lineage, that was his legacy, that was his history. And then the Bonaparte, when self-declared Bonaparte took France away from England and became the self-declared emperor, then the Bonaparte started taking over everything. They took over Italy, they took over, but go ahead and have fun, look at their history. It's not about Bonaparte, but what Bonaparte did was change it over by the Secretary of Navy. Everything got changed over to what's called Department of Defense. And everybody's been using that ever since. Well, Department of Defense started getting involved in the bioweapon development. They're listed on the patent of our bioweapons that are used against Americans. The Department of Defense has been doing all these crazy things and sending our guys all over the world to be in all these wars to defend everybody else. So Department of Defense defended everything else, and the military guys came home and said, what the heck is happening? We're defending everybody else, and you guys have been left vulnerable, and they're here taking over our country. And so, because some of these guys served for 30 years, and our lives really change in 10 years. Imagine 30 years, you're out of the country, you don't know what's going on, you're fighting hard to protect America, and you come back and you haven't protected anything. That's what our guys have been noticing. And so with all of this going on, the president put us back to Department of War. That was celebrated. Pete Hegseth has been with all the forces explaining to them the difference and where we are now. And so that's what has happened. Now, what happened today when this announcement came out, immediately God took me back to January 1 of 2024. And people have said today, well, Sheila, this is from almost 2 years ago and da da da. No, 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 no. What you need to understand is this was a route to get all of this to happen. Okay. So there was and you can look it up now while we're on with you. You can look it up in case we can't bring up this article and show you all the signatures. Just type in military accountability letter is all you have to type in. And when you type that in, scroll down and find congress.gov. And when you find congress.gov, you're going to see this letter. It's up a little bit further, Mike. This is just the letter. This is the letter you're going to see. It's a one-page letter. But then everybody's like, well, where's the signatures, Sheila? So then I scrolled up to get them the signatures. And when you come up a little bit further above, you will see where it says, I think it's right by the treason picture, down the treason picture, the president. And right there, do you see congress.gov? If you go to congress.gov and then it's got those initials behind it, that's the exact document. When you click on those letters, that should, if you double click it, it should take you to the exact letter at congress.gov.
Sheila, it looks, we're trying to find that page. Looks like they've deleted or taken it down.
Well, isn't that interesting? Okay, so what it is if you take us back to the letter is what a few people in the military gathered together, and on January 1 of 2024, they came out with this letter. When did they announce it? At exactly 4 a.m. 4 a.m. is exactly when they took down our guys took down the Georgia Guidestones. When that happened, the lightning strike had already happened by God, guys. I'm not saying the whole thing was at 4 a.m., but at 4 a.m. is when the laser beam hit it and knocked down the one pillar of the Georgia Guidestones. So when that happened, that was at 4 a.m. because 4 in the other kingdom is their structure. Ours is 12. And that's the structure for our government, but theirs is 4. And so at exactly 4 a.m. on 1/1/2024, this letter came out. And what this letter does is it absolutely defines everything that's happening that they have gone through. And they start out just like our founding documents. And this letter, you can see easily on my Twitter. And now that it's not showing up on, and it could just be the system tonight, but I just want you guys to know that you can find this. But now here's the great part about this. We were able to get somewhere around 37,000 signatures within like 48 hours back in January of 2024. That night we had a Twitter Spaces, and I'm not on the team doing this, but we all shared the word. When I got it, we all shared it to our lists, and everybody came on to listen to what they're doing with this letter and what all of this means. So in this process, if I don't know if we can expand it, but right in this area, I don't know if you can see the arrow right in this area, and it starts out with General Milley. It's generals, it's admirals, it's vice admirals. It lists all of these different people, lieutenant colonels. It lists all of those people, and it says, and more. The more was not listed. These were the key ones, but it all starts with General Milley. And a lot of you have already heard things from President Trump and others about General Milley way back in the first term. So all of this was put together. And then what it confirms is you've been operating outside the Constitution, which is treasonous. You provided orders and instructions outside of the Constitution and used us as experiments. That you don't have any power and authority to do that. I'm really paraphrasing what all of this goes into. But to give you the main gist of it, these guys are not going to get any pensions, and they're going to be going to military tribunals. So all of this process began in January 1 of 2024. And when that Twitter Spaces happened, they said, we'll stay on, we'll answer questions, 30 minutes, 60 minutes, whatever you guys want. That whole thing, I had to cut off at 3 hours, and it was still going on strong. And when General Flynn was speaking and going through all of this, he came on like 3 or 4 times. I was talking to Scotty Films, Scotty Martin, who we communicate together on Twitter a lot. You'll see that on my Twitter page. He does a thing called Scotty Films, and he summarizes a lot of where we are at based on the posts from Q. And so he's the one that sent it to me. And when I talked to him, I said, we got to get the right guy on here. We got to get Lieutenant Colonel Pete Chambers. And when we went to go to Lieutenant Colonel Pete Chambers, I could hear his voice in the background. I said, my God, he's on. That's his voice right now. And then at that moment, he was saying a couple of things about his history because he was Green Beret, et cetera, and then took a break after and became a flight surgeon because he wanted to do more than just be on the ground trying to help people. He wanted to be able to save lives. And so he became a flight surgeon, amazing man of God, and now he's up for governor in Texas. So as you'll see, as you scroll down in this letter, you'll see as it gets down to the 3rd paragraph to the end, right at the end of it, it says the Senior Executive Service. Remember how they've been saying the SES has been in control of absolutely all of this? Some people call it the shadow government. Some people call it all these things. These top military guys are all involved in it. And so ferreting out all of those top military guys has taken a long time. You can't just do these things overnight. And what we're dealing with now, people are mad at Kash Patel, they're mad at Pam Bondi. They imagine what happened in those services in those 4 years. They've destroyed so much of the intelligence evidence. And you have to, if you're going to do it lawfully, you have to have everything in order. And they even told us about some of the things they destroyed and didn't allow and couldn't do this and couldn't do that. When they did that, they destroyed evidence to have us be able to have our FBI take it to a grand jury and have a U.S. attorney that's legit and follows the law and the Constitution. And you know how many of those we've had problems with, let alone the judges. And then they're supposed to take it on once we get the indictment. So let me tell you how powerful today is. Today is so powerful that Pete announced this. They all have to be here next week. There's no exceptions. They all are coming to meet with him and with the president. Nobody knows what they're meeting about. Nobody knows why they're meeting. They're not being told. Okay. Remember when Pete Hegseth had to remove someone from the Pentagon? And remember at the same time, the president had to remove someone from his inner circle at the White House? And then do you remember what happened in Iran when our team went in and they did this whole thing and those B-2s never landed? They never touched ground. And I think it was 36 hours each way, or it was a 36-hour flight, but they never touched ground. They took off on that flight, and all of this is scriptural. They took off on that flight, and it talks about taking care of this and never touching ground, and took care of it over in Iran, came back home and landed, and absolutely nothing about that was leaked. So what was on my heart when I saw what was happening with Pete Hegseth, the prayer, Department of War, it's like this letter. And when I sent it out today, I was shocked how many people don't even know this exists. And this was so widely shared back on January 1 of 2024. And then people could go on and sign it. Now, here's what we aren't able to pull up right now, but I pray they're not removing it from congress.gov. But in this letter, the next 11 pages, and what does 11 mean? War. In the next 11 pages are signatures of generals, lieutenant colonels, colonels, vice admirals, admirals, and Lieutenant Colonel Pete Chambers is on there. And so all those signatures fill 11 pages. The very last few at the bottom of page 12, because it's 11 pages beyond this letter, are all redacted. And that may be witnesses who are going to be part of all of the next steps. But what they're in essence informing them of is these are military tribunal treasonous acts that you have committed against our Constitution. They warned them. They told them, this is what we're going to do. And they didn't list everybody. They just listed the ones who were more vocal and more involved and more out in the public as to what they were doing to other people in the military. So this
Well-
letter going out today, I'm sorry.
Yeah, Sheila, can I, just a point of personal privilege real quick for the audience
Mhm.
purposes and for the recording. I want to put some context around this, why this letter from 2 years ago is so important today, connect a few dots and give even more weight and emphasis. Because when I get finished, I'm going to turn it back to you, but I want everyone listening to this to be leaning forward with the greatest amount of attention possible. I want to go through a stream of what's happening today that ties back to this. Number one, we know the FBI is arresting James Comey. He's turning himself in the morning. He's already declared his innocence, but he will be arrested tomorrow. And it's going back
Well,
to,
because he was indicted today. You didn't
He was
mention that. He was
indicted.
indicted today. It was announced
Yes.
today.
yes. Secondly, if we think the Durham special counsel was a waste of time for the last 4 years, you're about to find out a wholly different narrative that is the complete truth of what Durham has been doing. Next, Mr. Poole, big intel source, a lot of Q drops, a lot of synergy, very accurate source. Talking about the EU destruction, breaking, the European Central Bank just warned all Europeans to start saving cash and preparing for a crisis right after President Trump and Melania come back from touring the troops in England and the Commonwealth coming down. Now the EU is saying we're about to have a crisis, and Federal Reserve Chairman Powell is soon to leave the scene, if that's even actually him. So with the EU destruction, with Pete Hegseth and President Trump meeting 800 generals, Comey being arrested, the strategic infiltration of our government, this is all happening in real time today. So the significance of everything that you're talking about is connecting all of the declassification, all of the treason trials, all of the Q drops, all of the central bankers being deplatformed, and the reconstitution of the United States of America. So I mean, I can't pound the table hard enough or loud enough to emphasize and beg everyone to listen to every word you're saying tonight.
Okay, we're gonna get into all of that. We're gonna get into the London trip and everything. Mike's already aware of all of this. I'm sorry, Rob, that we didn't say all the things we're gonna get into tonight, but we are gonna get into all of that. And the
Good.
indictment did happen. We don't have to show the picture of him or anything now that all of that's been revealed, because Comey's not important to us. He was due to walk down this path anyway. But why don't we go from here to go to let's do the treason video that's right above. It's right above these, right there.
To rig the election.
This is today.
Too
Okay,
far
just a
here.
minute. This is
Absolutely cold.
today.
Tulsi Gabbard.
Our president met with the president of Turkey, and this is a press conference from today. He's back in the White House.
Absolutely cold. Tulsi Gabbard. What they did to this country in 2016, starting in 2016, but going up all the way to 2020 in the election. They tried to rig the election, and they got caught. And there should be very severe consequences for that. You know, when we caught Hillary Clinton, I said, you know what? Let's not go too far here. It's the ex-wife of a president, and I thought it was sort of terrible. And I let her off the hook, and I'm very happy I did. But it's time to start, after what they did to me, and whether it's right or wrong, it's time to go after people. Obama's been caught directly. So people say, oh, you know, a group. It's not a group. It's Obama. His orders are on the paper. The papers are signed. The papers came right out of their office. They sent everything to be highly classified. Well, the highly classified's been released. And what they did in 2016 and in 2020 is very criminal. It's criminal at the highest level. So that's really the things you should be talking about. I know nothing about the other, but I think it's appropriate that they do go.
May I ask you about that, Mr. President? Tulsi Gabbard has submitted a criminal referral to the Department of Justice. From your perspective, who should the DOJ target as part of their investigation? What specific figures in the Obama administration?
Well, based on what I read, and I read pretty much what you read, it would be President Obama. He started it. And Biden was there with him, and Comey was there, and Clapper, the whole group was there. Brennan, they were all there in a room. Right here, this was the room. This is much more beautiful than it was then, but that's okay. I have nice pictures up that came out of the vaults. They were in there for 100 years. This is much more beautiful. We have the Declaration of Independence now in the room, which wasn't here. I guess people didn't feel absolutely
Okay.
cold.
This is what he was sharing today while he was with the president of Turkey, just like when he was with the president of Ukraine. And we can scroll up now because all of these things are newer. Okay, so not so fast. We have to scroll back down. Right here. You remember in 2017 when the president made the capitulation tour? Well, when he made the capitulation tour, he ended up inspecting the guard, and a lot of people didn't notice. The queen took her gloves off, laid them on her left wrist, surrendered to him. And that was after he was in Saudi Arabia, after he did these things in every country, he took a file with him, and everything was getting in position in 2017 with all of these different nations, because this is not just America. We can't pull out of this alone, and none of us can pull out of this without each other. And so he went around and did this capitulation tour, which means surrendering tour, where they all surrender into one structure where they're all going to fight this world order all at the same time. And that's what's been happening. So he inspected the guard at that time, and he did it a second time with Charles, who walked behind him. Everybody thought this was from that time. This is what happened when he was just in London. And so if we can play this. You notice how far Charles is behind? Is it about 6 feet? How they operate? But that's a signal, that was a signal to us, and people didn't understand it because they didn't know what that means. But we have never been free, and we've never been independent. We've been under England. The corporation was under England. That all got resolved in between 2017 and last year. And now this is a confirmation in this tour. Now, do you remember when he was in England just days ago, and he stayed and visited, he stayed separate and with the ambassador, and then visited in the Windsor Castle. He wasn't in Buckingham Palace. And I don't know if any of you understand that. When they took the prince and the queen out of Buckingham Palace back in 21 during the whole COVID thing, they took prince and the queen out, who got COVID at the same time, but it was also the same time as the president and the wife of Harvard. It was also the same time as the president and wife of Sweden. And we can get into that if you want to, but just so you know, they took them out. Remember, they were locking all of us in. We had to stay in. We couldn't have other relatives there. They took them out of Buckingham Palace. The windows have been boarded up and painted over. Charles has not been in Buckingham Palace. The family is in Windsor. And so he's giving us all these clues, but a lot of people don't know the difference between Buckingham Palace, and that's where all the pomp and circumstance happens, and in through the gates and in between the guards and delivered in, and then the cars out. I mean, it's this whole royal thing that happens. Didn't happen. Instead, the carriage that carries the king and queen was carrying also Melania and the president. And Melania made sure to wear a funeral attire, all in black, with the royal purple hat. But just like on Inauguration Day, they couldn't see her eyes. Did you notice that? And so, like, I see you, but you don't see me. So I know who you are, but you don't know who I am. And then she wore a long yellow gown, and yellow, and his tie yellow. And you notice during the treason thing, he wore yellow tie. That's the Q color, is yellow, golden. And so, as you're seeing all of these things, he's giving us codes in this whole process. And if we can scroll, I think it's the next one up. Let me just see. There's another one of President Trump in England. Let me see here. Are you there, Mike, with the it's up. It's right there. Okay. We can put this on full gear and I'll explain this after, but it's going to be, you got to hear what the song is. And what I said is, who were they honoring? So who was honored and what was revealed? So if we can play this one up so everyone can hear it. Okay, everything that is done has meaning. See how her eyes are covered? Everything that is done has meaning, and everything that is said has meaning. Everything is coded. And so what happened is, did you hear YMCA by our guys? And did you see the British band there also? And did you see the flyover was red, white, and blue equal?
Beautiful.
And that was
Beautiful.
our guys flying over. And who did they honor?
Do you want to
They
watch it
didn't just
again?
honor
Do you want
the
to watch it again
president.
to see that? I didn't
Sure.
recognize the equal. I think that's a great point to put out. It's only 30
Well, and
seconds.
look at the band. They're not the royal band with the black hats and the red suits. They're our band. And so
That's right. That's right. So I'm going to play this again one more time.
and you all know the song, and I'll explain the song if you don't know the explanation of the song. Their flag is red, white, and blue. Our flag is red, white, and blue. It's all equal. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah. It's almost like we're
And-
watching a Monty Python movie. You know,
Yeah,
You see-
yeah.
that's what it feels
And-
like.
And you're seeing, okay, you saw our band break across and break on each side, right? Did you
Yes.
see the band joining and marching exactly at YMCA?
Yes.
That
And
was
Sheila-
the British band. Do you see them all together? His YMCA is Gitmo.
Yes. Yeah.
So, and nobody caught this. I mean, I've been sending this out and they go, well, yeah, it was really nice. Oh, but he didn't get up and dance, did he? Well, no, it's kind of not. This is a
Sheila,
much
Sheila,
more
it's almost,
serious moment in time.
back it up, Mike, just a little bit. Back it up just a little bit. Stop for a second. Look at those two bushes on the bottom right. It's almost as if their wind is blowing in synchronicity with the
Mhm.
YMCA song. It's like,
Mhm.
I leave nothing. I mean, I don't doubt anything when it comes to comms, but those bushes are keeping rhythm with the music.
And look how they match this, and you see how they part, and then the British band comes in, the guard, her band, the Queen, the King, and then the flyover. There is so much in these few seconds.
And the band is in front of the Redcoat band, just as President Trump marched in front of King and the Queen, right? So again,
Yep.
they're standing back and we're in front of them. That's
And
symbolic.
let's stay on this just a moment, Mike, because you see how many seconds?
Is there a 17 in there?
34.
34.
And what is
Yeah.
for?
Two
My
17s.
fellow Americans. Do you see what I mean?
Oh,
This
Yeah.
whole
that's,
video going on in YMCA and Gitmo, and there's the 34 seconds, which is
so
two
that's a cute,
17s, and
are you,
34 is a Q post that says "My fellow American"
yes,
while he's in
great,
England.
great decode, Sheila.
So do you
Wow.
see what I mean? This has been a really, really, really big time for us, and they told us the 25th to the 27th.
Yep.
But they're letting it go to next week when they bring him in. Isn't it going to be funny if it ends up being a Red October?
Mhm. Yeah.
Because that's what they said. Things are going to be hot, building up, and then we're going to be in a Red October. And I thought, well, what could be red in October? And then all of this. Nobody really knew he was going to be doing that England trip. So now here we go. And I don't know if I can share on this one. Can I share on this one, Mike? Okay. So you guys have seen the Faith Monument, right? That has the 4 pillars and has faith at the top.
Yes,
Yep.
Okay. So this is a soldier monument. Now, if I click that, it's supposed to share it, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So we see that if you just want to take the corners of that, and just kind of, the black box you see. Yep. There you go.
Okay. So this is instead of faith, they call it like a warrior woman. She has a sword and she's going to cut through things. Okay. So now as I want to share other pictures, how do I do this?
So you can just X out of that picture.
Okay. So I get rid of that one, and then I'm going to pick, okay, so morality looks internally. And so morality on the soldier monument, this is what she looks like. Morality is just with a pen and paper observing, and it's her own opinion and perspective. And she's called in Greek mythology the muse of history. And so according to the pamphlet on this, she's called history. So it's not morality, it's like learn from history. Morality seeks internally for the truth because Christ resides in your heart. This is a human plan of we're just going to write down what we think and what our opinions are, and we're going to make it be what we want it to be. And so there is no, I don't know if I can just slide to the next one, I guess not. So that is the difference of morality with what their morality is. And the next one after morality is law. And law is one man sitting there, and when the man sits there, he has mercy is on one side panel on the faith monument, and justice is on the other. Because you don't have justice if you don't have mercy, and you don't have mercy if you don't have justice. And so that's what the scales mean. And we've never had that equilibrium of it. And on the faith monument, it's that if you injure me, I get some peers together, you get your peers together. Tonight we meet with the guy who's in our community, because that's why God had me put the chapter of Titus 1 in the book, because every community, every part of your community is to have 2 elders who have been proven that they cannot operate in grift, they're not con men, and they will not deceive people. And if they meet those criteria, then those are the 2 that you position in each part of your community to make sure that everything stays in liberty and freedom. And if things get out of balance with that, you bring the peers together, discuss what's happening, and you correct it. It's that simple in the 4 pillars on how to raise up a child in the way they should go. The guy in that position in this one does not look happy at all. In fact, he looks completely dejected. Why? He left his family in Europe. They let all of their people in their 20s and 30s all get out and come to this land of freedom and abundance and liberty. They had no liberty. He had a factory job there. He's got a factory job here. Do you see anything about peace in his life? But that's what they describe him as in the brochure, is that he's supposed to be the man of peace in the nation. So you see what we had already lost by the time of the Civil War. And then after law is education. And education on the faith monument is a mother holding up a 10 Commandments in her left, just like the morality, holding scroll of the Bible in the right, teaching the children, the parents teaching the children and the way they should go. And on the side panels, it has the grandfather teaching them about, it has a globe there teaching about the world and the Bible. And that's all they need to know to be successful in the world. And so it's parents teaching them, grandparents mentoring them in the way they should go so they do not depart from it. And you stay in unity as a family, which that's why they had to break it all up and say your parents and your grandparents are going to die, but government will always be here for you. So the only one you're going to be able to trust is the government. And so that's why on all these TV commercials now, I don't know if you've been hearing it, but don't act like your parents, don't be like your parents, don't have these rules like your parents. And what you're going to find in the points in the book from 43 taking us over before we're self-governing, 42 is student civil unrest, where they put them in these socialist organizations, and the symbols have never changed from the 1700s, 1800s, 1900s, because it goes all the way back to the beginning of time. It's all the other kingdom. And that's what we found out with Charlie Kirk. And I'll bring up that emblem at the end. I don't want to twist off of this right now, but I'm going to bring up the new emblem that we just found the day that they took out Charlie Kirk, is because now they've combined all of their symbols into one, and you will be shocked as to what it says. But this is, instead of educating the children in the way they should go, and she's called prosperity in the myth, in the Greek myth, to be prosperous in life. But the park ranger at the National Cemetery in Gettysburg said she was called Plenty. So I put both of them in the descriptions in my PowerPoints. But do you find this person to look prosperous and to have plenty? And it's all about where you're headed, not about in going in the right direction. And now this is the ultimate by the time we get to war tyranny, because the guy on the faith monument is got his foot on tyranny. So they made all this depiction the same. So in 1865, they laid the cornerstone right after they killed Abraham Lincoln. And I'm going to show you how they honored him with this. And then in 4 years, it was up. They did it in concrete form so it could be done very quickly and erected very quickly. But the design is completely the same. Completely the same height, same structure, etc. And the faith monument is in granite, and it's 81 feet tall. And the other kingdom had everyone believing the Georgia Guidestones were the tallest internationally. It was known as the American Stonehenge, the tallest granite monument in America were the Georgia Guidestones. They were 19 feet tall. Why? 19 is their power number. 81 is about 4 times taller than 19 feet, a little over. But that's what they were telling. So everything they do is a lie until everything people believe in America is a false statement. And so when you say the truth, that's why they have to eliminate you, remove you, stop you being able to share the truth. So this soldier, I took another picture of him from the left side, because you see he has his musket. He's got his foot on broken clay pots, which is the keep up with the Joneses. All it is just stuff. And you see this? You see this? You see the musket? He has to keep it gripped in his hand, letting his jacket fall as soon as he has to go into action. And I'm going to show you the other picture I took of him. I had to take a side picture because this is so profound. You see what's by his left foot? He has to have his own cannonballs. So he has to take care of his own family, protect his own family, because even your neighbor could be the enemy, because that's what they found during the Civil War, exactly where we are now. It is exactly where we are now. And so this is this is why I'm so glad we had an opportunity just to swing through these tonight. I know it's not much of a description, but people want to know, when did this start? It started in 1790, 1791. We only inaugurated President Washington in 1789. And they already had the centralized banks by 1791. By 92, they had them all the way down to Savannah, Georgia. So then the dedication to Lincoln is right here. And right here on the back, you'll see the Gettysburg Address. And then down here, they did this whole thing blessing him and dedicating this whole monument to him, because they knew how hard he tried to keep this country together. And the only thing in the front of the monument, let me go back to that picture again. The only thing you're going to see in the front of the monument, if I can expand this, is Gettysburg, July 1, 2, 3, 1863. Those were the bloodiest days of battle at any time. And that's when they noticed it's believing men, fathers, who are the focus, kill them. And when they realized that's what was happening after over 700,000 lives were lost, they stopped and went home, kept their muskets and their cannonballs close. And that's the way it's been ever since. We just didn't realize it because of all the generations in between. And exactly 1 century later, November 11 of 1963, 100 years after 1863, is when they took out Kennedy, President Kennedy, Aldous Huxley, who wrote Brave New World, and C.S. Lewis, who was telling the Christians. So Aldous Huxley was telling the world what they were doing to us. C.S. Lewis was telling the Christians what they were doing to us. And they took all three of those truth people out on 11/22, which is 3/3 of 1963. And so this is what we've been dealing with, and we didn't realize how powerfully this was going on in our country and what we were up against. And so now to realize it's powerful that Comey got indicted today, but it's still a process where we have to take him through this process. But please keep praying for Kash Patel. People are demonizing him. Why? They don't want you to think that anything's going to be done. They don't want you to think that anyone's going to be accomplishing anything. We have the president who told us way back in front of the press for us to hear, we caught them all. We've got it all. They got rid of the Republic Constitution for America, because it's a republic for America. It's not a United States of America. It's not of this structure. It's for us. Republic for America. We're the nation. A nation and people is the same in Hebrew. And we're Hebrew Israelites who come to him. And so that's what we're up against. Again, it just comes down to two kingdoms. So exactly what Pete's dealing with in the military today is exactly what was happening in the Civil War. And as soon as we got out of it, and even though President Ulysses S. Grant, who ended up being the last Republic president, if he was in a sports process of the war, he would have been the most valuable player, the MVP. They considered him to be indestructible. The man was so phenomenal, and they made him the president. And what did he do? The Pilgrims banned the church structure. They knew it was Gentile worship in Europe, and that's the children were being groomed. Everything we think is brand new now, none of this is new. And the children were being taken away. There's right now an investigation in Alaska. There's a town in Alaska that I've got the guys working on because it's got a military base, and they're not getting enough children anymore. And because they're not getting enough children anymore, children are disappearing, and the children don't want to leave their houses in Alaska to go to school because their friends are disappearing. Why are they disappearing? They need more children. I mean, none of this is new. And so I'm so grateful we could swing this on the end of it. I don't know how much time we have. I'm so grateful we could get all of this done. I'm so grateful I could tell you more about what's been happening globally. because that trip to England had a lot more to do with finalizing everything, because we are in that financial phase right now of resolving everything. But it's not just resolving it for America. Everybody wants America to be cleaned up. They want someone to fix it. That's monarch mentality. Our president is not a king, and he's never going to be a dictator. And he has said from the beginning, this Bible is our rule of law, and we are going to follow the law, and we're going to do everything the way it needs to be done. And that is the only way to get through this. We can't let anything become like they have done it, because then we're right back there. That's why no civil war, no insurrection. Everybody goes, oh, there's going to be the military martial law, all of these things. The military may have to come and help, but Americans want that. We don't want the UN troops as the major statement and plan that they had, according to Kissinger. And that's in my book on page 313 and 14 in the new book. And I swept him in because I gave him a little vignette, because Kissinger is so evil. I didn't want to give him much space, but you guys don't want me to use another page or a page and a half or a half a page to put on to the next chapter, but everything starts on an odd page. So I swung him in right before a new chapter on 313 and 314, and read that plan. You'll be shocked. He set us up that we would want the UN troops to come in and help us. That's not true. We want our military. So what we're witnessing, what's happening right now with Pete Hegseth doing the Lord's Prayer over the troops and being with the troops, to everything that they're doing, to everything that was straightened out globally, to everything the president just did in England, everything is lining up. Everything is lining up. But they did this to us in the whole 250 years. We can't clean it up in 2.5. And people were like, well, everything he didn't clean up in the first term, he needs to clean up in this one. It's not for him to clean it up. Guys, he has done so many executive orders. We have to put the feet to it. He has written all these things. He gave us school choice back in 2017, 2018. And parents were like, well, what forms do we fill out? And who do we ask to get the school choice? He's giving you school choice. Take your kids out of the public schools. Public schools were compulsory since 1850. That was a major part of starting the Republican Party. But it hasn't helped to have two parties, because they're all the same people. The people at the top are all controlling all of it. And this is what they did in Europe. And they're all connected. And we will never know those things because we're not part of their secret groups. And there's bunches of them. The list is very long. I've named a few, and people go, well, and we have family members in that one. It's not just that one. Pick a fraternal organization. They make you take oaths. Then they can blackmail you. And it's in everything. Everything from entertainment to military to government to corporations. That's why there's only 6 corporations making all of our food. Why do you suppose they stopped letting people learn home ec and learn how to cook? Why do you suppose they stopped spaces for gardens and tainting the land and tainting? They've tainted everything. There's a wonderful, look it up on YouTube, and just put in HOPI. It's a Hopi Indian elder, I believe. And if you put that in, Hopi 1970s, you'll find this YouTube video. And he gives this whole description. They'll come in, do their factories, make it all look good, and then they'll take it away over here. What happened to our steel industry? What happened to our cotton mills? What happened to we lost all of this stuff and we didn't see it happening. And he said, and then you all think we're stupid because we don't want running water in our houses. We know what they're going to put in the water. We know what they're going to be putting in the water that comes into our houses, and we don't want our families having that water. And it's right in this little outdoor by a tree with some designs that he made, little video on YouTube. It's so, so powerful. So, so powerful.
And
Sheila, I
ahead.
actually, hold on a second, Mike. Sheila, I actually watched those videos and they are very, very powerful. So thank you for bringing that up. And they, not only do we need to decentralize our banks, we need to decentralize our food industry. And everyone needs to grow in their own communities.
That's why they're getting rid of the seeds. People are having to make their own heirloom seeds and then put them in the soil. What are you going to do in the soil when they've already tainted the soil with
We
what
don't know what they're spraying on our foods.
I mean,
So-
everything. Yeah. So there's a lot of work, but this republic, and Teddy Roosevelt said it, this government is supposed to be you and me. It's supposed to be us working together. And that's where we are.
Donald Trump told us in 2017, this is not merely a transfer of power from one party to another or one administration to another. This is a transfer of power from Washington, D.C. back to you people. And he's given us all the executive orders for us to use. There's over 200 executive orders, but no one goes to the website of whitehouse.gov and look up these executive orders. And they are powerful, and you can use them against the construct of the corporations. Okay, we're coming up on 2 hours here, so I really cannot thank you enough for your time. And I know you've been really busy with your schedule, and we're so thankful for you to come in and share. And if we could all sing YMCK, we're all ready for the arrest. We're all ready for justice. And many of us that have been in this movement for, I can speak for myself, for the last 9-10 years, we're out. We're tired of people, calling us names and what have you. And many of us have done a lot of research. So I want to thank you. I want to thank Rob. I want to thank Anna, and I want to thank Mike. And most of all, I want to thank everyone who's taken the time to watch this video. And, where we go one, we go all, and always stay grounded and stay steady. And I think big things are about to happen. Mike, can we end it off with God Bless America by Kate Smith, please?
And now we take great pleasure in presenting to you the star of our program, Miss Kate Smith.
Hello, everybody. It is my happy privilege to introduce a new song, God Bless America. While the storm clouds gather far across the sea, let us swear allegiance to a land that's free. Let us all be grateful for a land so fair, as we raise our voices in a solemn prayer. God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with a light from above. From the mountain to the prairie to the ocean white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with a light from above. From the mountain to the prairie to the ocean.
Goodbye, Daddy.
Hi, dear. Don't be late.
No?
White with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet
Right, Pop?
Right, son.
God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her it with hope. God bless America.
Kind of makes you think of Blake, doesn't it? Makes you think of a lot of things. We're going to be in this yet, Mom.
Hello, son.
Hi, Mom. Hello, darling.
New song?
Brand new, first time of the year. Brand new, my eye. You know, I threw that song out of Yip Yip Yap Hank 22 years ago. Sounds better now.
God bless America. My home, sweet
Thank you, everyone. God bless America.